Well, welcome back to the True Blue Everton podcast with me, Alan Myers, and Tony Grant. Tony, it's good to see you again. We just finished with the transfer window, still not being confirmed completely, but it looks like Everton have signed Tyreek George, from a young 19-year-old from Chelsea. What do you make of that, first of all, if that's confirmed, which I expect it to be?
Yeah, Al, he's a young boy, isn't he? So I'm suppose not many of us know that much about him. Um, is it a sign that Everton's signings are going to be quite young? Is that a new vision for the club? Um, I've seen bits of the kid. He looks an exciting prospect, but he comes with potential. These kids, don't they? That's what they come with, potential. The same with Dibbling.
Mm.
But it shows you, if the management have got a lot to do with it, that we've got two young wingers now. You know, uh, towards the end of the season, are they both going to be getting a run out?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
this is
So
Dibbling and George.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they're both young boys, aren't they? But if that,
Mm.
Barry's a
Mm.
young boy up front, so I don't know if this is part of the strategy of the club to buy more younger ones, because most fans wouldn't have heard too much of the Chelsea boy. So he comes with potential. Is it going to be real? He's
Yeah.
coming down. He's coming from down south, up north, the same as Dibbling. So hopefully he gets a run, because young Dibbling hasn't had much of a chance. So hopefully he gets a run, and we'll soon see if he's good enough for it.
And if that is the policy, if that is
Yeah,
the strategy, as you call it, what do you make of that? I mean, obviously, we as a club, we've been guilty of buying players, with no sell-on value, um, and it seems, if that's the case, it's more of a sort of building a structure, building a club, if you like, a squad. Is that a good thing, a bad thing, a worry in any
that's
way,
it.
shape, or form?
I think it's a great thing if you're going to play them. Right now, if it carries on with Dibbling, he's going to devalue in price. For what you've paid for him. His price will
Mm.
start going down. You know,
Yeah, you've got to play, haven't you,
you've
as
got
a
to play them.
footballer?
We talk about pathways. And
Mm.
if you're going to be a club who buys young to sell, well, you have to play them, don't you? Otherwise, what's the
Yeah,
actual point in having that type of pathway?
yeah. Um, as far as outgoings, there's been a couple of bits and pieces, isn't it? Good to see Harrison Armstrong staying. But as far as Dwight McNeil, it looks as if he's on his way possibly to Crystal Palace. Again, as we speak, it's not confirmed completely, but it looks like. Um, do you think that's the right move for him? Do you think he needed to go?
Yeah, I think it'll be the right move for everyone. Dwight at times has shown some glimpses where he has scored some really cracking goals for Everton
Yeah, yeah.
since he's arrived. On his day, he can score that goal and be a match winner. But most of the other days, he's finding it tough. He hasn't started many games this year, and he's not really a athletic type of player. He's a bit of an
Mm.
old-fashioned midfielder, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Um, I think it'd be a good time for him to move on, finish with his career, because Everton fans have been good to him as well as he's been good to Everton fans. But it'd be sad for it to end on a sour note. And I think
Mm.
a
Mm.
move would be good for both parties here, Al.
Yeah. As far as Harrison Armstrong, we mentioned there. I mean, I spoke to him, I think, as you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
week before the transfer window closed, and without actually saying it, he gave me the impression that he would be here for the rest of the season. I asked him a question about what he felt was going to be success over the next few months, and he talked quite passionately about what Everton might be able to achieve. Is that, do you think he's going to get time? And we're talking about time. He's a young lad. I think David Moyes said at the start when he came back, that if he wasn't going to get time, he would be probably going back to Preston. So you wonder, has he seen something that he thinks,
Do you
this
know? Do
lad
you know?
might have it?
Yeah. Do you know what I think a big word is, Al? Is trust. When
Mm.
you're the manager, putting like, I don't think Moyes trusts young Dibbling. Don't think he
Right.
trusts him. I don't think. I think he knows he's got great talent, and he's a very
Mm.
talented boy, and that gets you so far. But if that trust is the word, and I think Harrison, he's got that workman-like attitude that it's easy to put in. You can take him out. I don't think he's going to
Mm.
sulk. So he's got all them real good habits. Um, we said a few weeks ago on here Al, that I thought he was always going to get minutes. Doesn't mean he's going to start every game, but it
Mm.
means he's going to be valuable to the team because
Yeah.
the manager can trust him to take him out, to put him back in, and you're almost guaranteed a 7 out of 10 already with this young boy. It's almost like
Mm.
you're going to
Mm.
get a 7 out of 10 out of him. You might get an 8 and a 9 some games. You might just get a 6, but I don't think you'll get much lower than that. I think he's a steady away player who's going to get better and better. So
Mm.
I never seen him going back to Preston. I've seen him being a player who's going to be part of the squad and add value to the squad. So
Mm.
yeah, it doesn't surprise me he's staying. Really doesn't.
What do you think you would have liked to have seen done, which hasn't been done, if you know what I mean? Would you have liked to have seen a right back come in? Would you like to have seen another striker?
Do you know what, Al?
What,
Do you know
what
towards
more have
the
we
end of
missed?
this? Yeah, it's not towards. We're getting to the end of the season. We've got what is it, a third of the season left? Would it be? It's
Maybe a little bit more, possibly.
maybe a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit more. Compared to previous seasons, I don't think we're in a relegation fight. I think the bottom
No.
three are going to fight it out with maybe the fourth and fifth from bottom. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
You know, we we talk about strikers, but then you've got to ask yourself in January: is that the time to buy a striker? Who's even out there who wants to come to Everton? We've got the money to go and pay for them. You know, so it all depends what's out there. As far as certain positions, I just wanted pace. As a player,
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get the finished article in January. I don't think you're going to get someone who's ready to go and come in January who you don't know of and is going to
Mhm.
be outstanding. Can you buy pace? I think you can. Whether the boy from Chelsea is bags of pace, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how fast he is, to be honest with you. Time will tell on
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
Of course, we need some rebuilding, but I'm not sure January is the time to rebuild. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think if you're the cities, maybe the Arsenal, maybe Liverpool, with the money, you
With the
can go
money.
out and cherry pick,
Correct.
can't you, for a
That's it.
player,
Yeah.
because you can get it. But the market that we would probably be in would be a
Yeah.
very different market, and you're taking a risk, aren't you? Where I
Yeah.
guess there is a plus side to thinking, hang on a minute, let's sit down and see what's available in the summer
Yeah.
and I'm take it from there. So yeah,
Yeah. I
maybe,
mean, I
maybe,
do. I
we
do
don't
think
know
that.
what the Freakins do. Say again.
Yeah, I do know. You know, for me, buying pace, there is definitely going. We've got all these. We've got a department, a scouting department there, um, that scours the whole world. Or they spend enough money, so they should be scouring the whole world. Pace, you can find pace. It doesn't mean they're going to be a great player, but at
Mm,
least they've got something to offer you. Because
yeah,
if we're trying to find that great player with pace in January, we probably won't get him. Semenyo goes to City. You know, so
yeah,
you're talking. It's a tough one for Everton. That's why I'm saying buy someone that you might just need, a quality that you might just need. Um, you're looking at strikers. You're talking about the boy who goes to the Palace for big, big money, right?
mm,
Well, you look at Mateta. Well, we couldn't get Mateta because he's probably
yeah,
on nearly 150 grand a week, 70. And is he the part of the model that we're going with anyway? So
mm,
I think January is always going to be tough for us. I think the boy from Chelsea will soon see. We could have two of the youngest wingers in the Premier League playing soon. And do we give them a run of games till the end of the season, or is it going to be purely performance based on that Saturday? Which means if you don't perform, you're out for a few games.
yeah.
What's the model there?
And I guess the last question on the transfer window before we leave it and
Yeah,
sit and wait for the deal sheets
yeah,
to come to fruition. Um, you know, um, is is there an opportunity here? My worry, it's not a worry, but it's a sort of concern, if you like, that we're in a position in the league. What are we, ninth now? I think, but we're sort of
yeah,
5 or 6 points off a European place.
yeah,
Is there an opportunity possibly being missed here, or is there an argument to say, well, hang on a minute, we can still go for that. We can still,
yeah,
we've done this well so far. Why
yeah,
can't we go on, and
yeah,
get that place? I mean, I guess my concern is that I just see this chance on the horizon, and I wonder whether or not if we did add a couple more, we might be able to take that.
yeah. But it goes back to what we were saying before. It's who's out there, and
Mm.
I don't know what direction the owners are taking the club in. I'm not too sure on the recruitment side. Are we
mm,
going to be that team that we talked about before? We would buy young to try and sell. I
yeah,
don't know. We're not that far off of challenging up the at the top. I mean, we look at Brentford, who lost a number of players start of the season, and I half writ them off Al start of the
mm,
season, and I think
yeah,
if they won, they're what I think they're seventh or eighth, aren't they? Just
yeah.
above us, I think they are.
They
You
beat
know,
Villa on Sunday, didn't they? Yeah,
Villa.
yeah,
So I think even with what we've got right now, I think we can still challenge for that spot. Doesn't mean we can challenge for maybe the fifth or the sixth, but I think we can challenge for
mm.
the seventh, possibly
Yeah. The
sixth.
Conference League. Mm,
Yeah, do
mm,
you know what I mean? Now, so I think we can
mm,
challenge for that with what we've got. And I
yeah,
don't think January was going to. I think it might have been more of a hindrance to us if we went and spent 30 or 40 million on one player. I'm
yeah.
not too sure who that player is for Everton for 30 or 40 mil.
No, I must admit, I looked around and thought, who could we get? And as you say, you looked at the likes of Mateta, and people mentioned about Ivan Toney, who hasn't moved anywhere.
Yeah,
They were out of sight for Everton, I think, in this
yeah, I
window.
think so.
We're not paying 40, 50 million for players at this point.
No.
So yeah, so okay, listen. I think we've sort of mastered the transfer window
Would it be fair
and
to
what we
say, Al,
think.
that it's been one of the quietest January transfer windows for Everton
I think for not only for Everton, I think it's
for
been
quite a
for
few?
a lot of clubs as well. I mean, there's no huge deal. The huge deal was Strand Larsen and Mateta,
Yeah,
really, and
yeah,
and that that doesn't really rock your boat, does it? It's
yeah,
I mean, I think quite a bit of the business was done early on. Certainly, Manchester City did a few early
yeah.
on, didn't they? So, but anyway, I mean, listen, the other thing we're here to do is to look back at the game against Brighton, and when you look at it, was it a point that you think we're really pleased to get in the end?
In the end, I suppose you are. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this Brighton team's as good as the Brighton teams they've had in the past.
Mm.
Um, but we were on the back of a really poor performance against Leeds, which ended up being a decent, 45 minutes either way. But
Yeah.
it was a good away performance away against Villa. I suppose you're going down there, thinking we play like we did against Villa, we'll probably get 3 points here. But
Mm.
it's never that easy, is it? And then we set
Mm.
up with, I thought it was a bit harsh to take the right back out. I mean, me and you spoke
Mm.
out. I wanted us to go
Yeah.
with the back personally. Um,
Mm.
and that meant if you never had a left back, Brantwaite could have played left wing back. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not just
Yeah.
you can throw arguments at everything. I never thought Big Jacob O'Brien was going to be a decent right back, but he still played right back. He's the
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
right back ever. But he's done a
Mm.
job. But I've liked him when he's gone back to centre half. To be honest with you, I think he's done a great job as a centre back. You had Michael
Mm.
Keane, you got Tarkowski. I'd have left the right back in, who's been playing okay.
Yeah.
And he's
He's done
athletic.
nothing wrong, has he?
He's done
In
nothing wrong.
fairness.
He'll get up and down. And the
Mm.
second half performance against Leeds, it sort of looked like that shape might suit what we've got right now. But
Yeah.
we went with
Mm.
four big boys at the back, and the first half it wasn't great on the eye, but they were quite solid enough. Um, but yeah, Moisey's celebration was probably worth the point in the end, wasn't
Well,
it?
we're going to talk about that in a minute. But when you look at it, as we talked about, and that was the big talking point once the team was announced, was these having these four centre backs, and in the end, I think my view is that at the end of the day, we have to trust the manager because the
Yeah,
manager's the
yeah,
one picking the players. We can't pick the players. We can say what we think, but and in the end, he got a result which you think, okay, well, the question is, would we have got a better
or
result if we'd have
yeah,
started differently? There's
possibly.
always that question. But the bottom line is you have to trust the manager. And so far, since he's been back, if you look where we were a year ago to where we are
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
you've got to trust
or,
him, because
yeah,
he's done the job that he was being brought in to do, So in that respect, I think I think it was a good result. It was great to see Beto getting a goal. Mano reading Tarkovsky's notes about or letters, sorry, interview about the fact that he thought maybe it might have been offside. He didn't know what to do, but the goal stood, and it was a great celebration, and we
yeah.
must get on to that dance, on the pitch. I'm not sure it was a dance. I think probably the trading standards would come in if you tried to call it a dance. But I mean, what do you make of all that with the yellow card and everything? I mean,
Well, I don't know. It's almost the fun's the zapping the fun out of everything, aren't they?
Mm.
You know, any time you sort of football, especially the football's an emotional game, isn't it? You know, you
Yeah.
get towards the end of a game and you score a winner or you score an equaliser,
Mm.
whatever that be. You mean you shouldn't be getting yellow cards. You should just be celebrating it. It should be
Mm.
fun. Um, so now, I think the FA or whoever's making all the rules are they're slowly taking the fun out of everything. You know, and some things are working yellow cards. So just carry on. Take, you just gonna have to take the yellow cards.
Well, as you know, I'm here sometimes to play devil's advocate, and
Come
I
on.
guess if you look at it from a FA or a PGMOL point
Yeah.
of view, the manager went on the pitch. Now, if we go back to a few years ago when Jurgen Klopp ran
Yeah.
on the pitch in the
Yeah.
derby when they scored, you
Yeah.
know, there was an outcry from
Of
Everton
course.
fans.
Yeah. Of course.
What was it?
Yeah.
He shouldn't be doing that. He should be. Now, I think the big thing for me is the inconsistency, because nothing happened to the manager there.
Yeah.
There's other managers have ran on the pitch in the last few months. I've seen one.
Yeah.
Um, and nothing happens. And then all of a sudden, David Moyes gets a yellow card. And so there's two things here for me. Yes, I guess there's an argument in the fact that if you allow managers to run on the pitch, there's an argument that it could incite away fans or it can incites fans.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, that's fair enough. But there's also the other argument to say, as you say, you're draining all the fun out of the game. You're draining the emotion, and that's
Yeah.
what it's about. And
Yeah.
and I'm not sure you're in control at that point. You will know better than me.
Well.
I don't know what it's like to score a Premier League goal. You do.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I'll talk about running on the pitch. You know, one of the you'll have many more memories than me of managers who've done something like this.
That
But
because
one
I'm
that's
older than you. Yeah,
correct, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
one that sticks out for me was the Porto one many years ago when
Yes,
no one had heard.
Mourinho.
We hadn't heard of Mourinho,
No,
and just to have that connection, and he done
yeah.
what everyone would want to do in that moment.
Of
And
course he did. Yeah.
he ran
Mm,
down, he jumped in amongst all his players. And you know what?
mm.
He showed a side to himself that it was a little bit like all us as fans would want to do. Now,
Yeah,
I get it when an opposition manager runs on, the fans like you talk about
mm,
when Jurgen Klopp ran on. Of course, well, Everton fans are going to kick off because we don't like that. But now Everton
no.
fans are kicking off because our manager's doing it. I get that. So you know
But that's
what?
football fans, isn't
That's
it?
football. I think your
Yeah,
fans are always. I think your fans are entitled to always have a go at that manager.
yeah,
But that manager, it's only his fans who he's really accountable to.
yeah, yeah,
So Jurgen Klopp that day has done what all his fans want him to do. Yeah, okay,
yeah,
we're unhappy. Well, on Saturday, Moisey's done what all our fans want him to do, and the Brighton
yeah,
fans are unhappy. But you know what?
yeah.
So what? Right?
So what?
So
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Right?
No, I get you. Yeah,
So let's go and find a manager or find a club a little bit. Not something
yeah,
stupid. You know, we're not breaking any
yeah.
stupid, not breaking any crazy
No,
rules. But if you want to
no.
slap them on the wrist, slap them on the
Mm.
wrist. But don't take that away from football. Don't take that away from football.
But that is the argument, isn't it? By doing that, by fining people and sort of suppressing managers' passion. I thought it was great when Moyes ran on the pitch. Not necessarily on the
Right?
pitch, but certainly when he showed his passion,
Yeah.
because that's been missing at Everton for so
Yeah.
long now. I think we've had managers under stress, and
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
mental health issues. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Rather than
Well,
enjoying themselves. You know
you're
what I
supposed
mean?
you're supposed to get entertained, aren't you? Right, you go
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
match. You know, we
Mm.
fans are paying £100 a ticket or whatever they're
Yeah.
paying. You know, it's
Whatever
expensive,
it is. Yeah.
especially if you've got kids and all
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the players. Sometimes you
Mm.
want to see something from your manager. You
Yeah.
know, so it is entertainment. So if your manager decides you've just scored an equaliser, what a great time to score! I'm going to have a
Yeah.
little dance. So be it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Well, I
be
think
it.
you're right. The only thing I would just add on this is that
Go on.
the man Moisey talked about if he'd have been a bit more mobile, he'd have done a knee slide. Well, I remember it put me in mind of do you remember Paolo Di Canio when he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
manager of Sunderland
yeah,
and I think they won or what and he went down the pitch and did a knee slide.
Yeah,
Clearly, Di Canio was in a better position. I think he was much younger than David Moyes is,
yeah.
but I mean, in fairness to David Moyes, he got a bit of stick about the type of dance, but believe me, he was a lot more mobile than I would have been at the time. But anyway, but there you go. So in the end, a good point.
Yeah,
And I think it's Fulham next, isn't it? Away, difficult game, I think. You know, but that point gives you a mentality, doesn't it, going into the Fulham game that again that resistance was there, that resilience was there.
yeah. I think Everton have shown this season they have got quite a little bit of characters about them. Even when they're not
Mm,
playing great,
yeah,
they've nicked
that's
the
the manager,
points.
isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Mm,
That's almost like the environment that you create every single
yeah,
day. All as
yeah,
coaches are creating that sort of environment. Um, I think we're a match for almost every team in the league
mm,
at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah,
Some of it's not nice on the eye, but it is what it is. We obviously lost probably one of our best attacking players now to the end of the season.
mm,
But we'll be just as dangerous to Fulham as Fulham are to us. I think
yeah,
we've got a little bit of team ethic about us. Um, and then it might come down to tactics that game. It might come down to, that personnel of that player who can do something out the ordinary to win that game. There might be not much between them. I know Fulham played quite well against Man U,
mm,
the other night, and unlucky to lose the game in the end. So Fulham are no easy shakes out. Every game's a tough game in the Premier League.
mm. And it's a situation where if we can keep everybody on the pitch, through suspensions or
Yeah,
through injury or whatever, why not? Why not look at the top six? You know what I mean? The
of
top
course.
seven.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm saying Fulham's every game's a tough game, but Everton are a match for everyone. So we can
Mm,
go to Fulham and get 3 points,
yeah,
and take game by game. Then go to the end of the season, game by
mm,
game. Um, well, hopefully have the new boy from Chelsea through the doors, and the question will be whether he's going to play him or is he going to be a bencher who comes on and give us something that we haven't got.
yeah,
Time will
mm,
tell. Time will tell on that. But you're right. Looking above us now, there's teams there we can catch, and all you can do is go by game. And what we do know is every away game will be packed out of Evertonians, won't it? It'll be
yeah.
sold out
That's
from day
if
one.
there's one consistent, that's it,
Oh
isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's all to play for.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's all to play for now as well because we've
Oh,
got
go on then.
it's that time again. It's that time again
Yeah,
with the blind ranking,
yeah,
and I'm terrified every time I say that. But anyway, as far as as far as this one's concerned, we had the strikers, didn't we?
yeah.
Was the strikers we did last time? Yeah, it was.
No,
And
there's only a centre backs with the
centre
laptop.
halves it was. Sorry,
Yeah,
we've got. I did a little quick poll on the on Twitter actually or on X, about strikers. But we'll be doing strikers in the few weeks to come. But we got one of our Irish fans wrote to us on the True Everton the True Blue Everton podcast, and asked, could we do the blind ranking of former Everton or any Everton and Republic of Ireland players. So I thought it was a good idea, and I think we can maybe
okay,
do a Scotland one, an England one, and
okay,
a Wales one. So
yeah.
so we're going to start off with the Irish one because, as I say, they asked first, and here we go with some interesting names in this one. But we're going to start off with a central defender called Shane Duffy.
Big Shane, Coach Shane at Blackburn. We bought him, didn't we,
Yeah,
Al? To
that's right,
Blackburn
we
from
did.
Everton.
Yeah,
And he was a big lump, Big Shane. He came through Everton's ranks, didn't he? And played a few
mm,
games. No, he's had a good career in the end, the kid, and done well
yeah.
for the Republic of Ireland as well. But as
He did well
far
for
as
Brighton, didn't he?
done
Once he
well
went
for
to
Brighton,
Brighton.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put Shane number 8.
Number 8, okay. Well, I've got my pad out this time so I can get involved. Okay, and we're staying in the central defence for the next one. And we're going with someone you know quite well, Richard Dunn.
Yeah, well, Tony was a. I thought Tony came on the scene again. He come through just after me. He was with me at
Yeah,
Belfield, Tony.
yeah.
And then I went to play with him at City as well. Sonny was a stalwart for City. He was a
Mm.
big player for City and then Villa. But he came through at Everton. Was a big lump at 16, Sonny. Like a big lump,
Yeah,
You know,
massive money. Yeah.
massive. Big Dave Watson looked after him. To be fair,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
took him under his wing and came in the team. And the games he played, he's done really well, done he? And anyway, he found himself to City, didn't he? But Dunny was a very, very good player, and I know he was very good for Republic of Ireland. So I'm
yeah.
going to put Dunny at number 5.
Oh, I like that. That's okay. I'll tell you about Dunny. Dunny he's such a lovely lad. He was for the size of him, he's so lovely natured, wasn't he, Dunny? You know what I mean? And
Well,
and, and like
he was exceptionally quick for the size of him as
He
well.
was. He was very quick. You're right. Yeah, he had a lot of pace. Yeah, but he was as a person, and
Oh
we
yeah,
knew him as a
exactly.
person. He was such a nice guy and
Yeah,
and softly spoken, and
yeah,
and I remember him saying to me when we were playing away at Watford, and he said to me, Alan, he said, would you do me a favour? Would you take my car down? Because he was actually flying off, strangely enough, to
yeah,
go and play for the Republic of Ireland. So he was going straight from Watford's ground to in his car to Heathrow and to fly
yeah,
to Ireland. And so I said, yeah, no problem. So it was this old big Rover. I can't remember what in the 90s
yeah,
there was the big Rover, and I got in it, and honestly, you'll laugh at this because you'll know about them. It was the most unbelievable. It was like an Aladdin's cave in there.
full
There
of
was
sweets.
sweets. There was all kinds of, and one of the things that did stick out to me was all these pound coins on the floor. There was like dozens of pound coins on the floor. And I had to go because I didn't have a car, because I'd left my car at the training ground, and I took his car, and so I had to go to the supermarket in his car, and my wife gets in the car and she says, "Whose car is it?" I said, "Oh, it's Richard Dunn." So she said, "What's all the money doing on the floor?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "But just let's," and she collected it all up and put it into the little
Yeah,
the glove box thing. But it just made me laugh. I don't know why he's throwing these pound
yeah.
coins everywhere. But anyway, but Dunny was great. The
Great.
third one, and
Go on.
we're moving forward up the pitch on this one. We're looking at Kevin Kilban.
Yeah, Kevin's done great for us, didn't he? He really
Yeah,
did. Did we
yeah.
get him from West Brom, Kevin? Was he from West Brom? No, or was he?
Well, it was either West Brom or Sunderland. I'm not quite sure because he was at
Yeah,
Sunderland, wasn't he, with Moisey?
yeah.
And I think you're right. I think he went to West Brom then, and
That's
then
it.
came to us.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he's done well. He's done really well for us, Kevin Kilban, didn't he?
yeah. Great lad.
Great lad. But I'll stick him behind Sonny because I'm not putting him ahead of Sonny. So he goes number 6.
Okay, number 6. Okay, now it gets a bit tougher. The next one is another Kevin, but this time he's called Kevin Sheedy.
Oh, he's number 1.
Really?
See, yeah, well, when you start going with the 80s, that's my era, isn't it? That's the,
It is.
it's very
Yeah,
hard. If you
yeah,
support Everton, unless you're much older than me, it's very hard to go against anyone for. Which is why we were talking about the centre backs last week, and I was saying to you
yeah,
how
mm,
much, and a few of my mates have got in touch with me and saying, so you can't have Goffey as number 1 when he was only here for just over a year. And I get that,
yeah,
I understand
yeah.
that. It just shows you
But
how
it's not
much
about that. It's not about that, is it?
I just trained with him, played with him, and he was just that good.
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
and if he was playing in the 80s next to Ratters, it would have been unbelievable.
mm,
But anyway,
yeah.
I'm going on too much. So you say Sheedy. For me, Sheedy's one of the greatest players to ever play for Everton. Came
I
Sheedy.
agree. Mm,
The whole stadium shouting his name for
yeah,
any dead ball.
yeah,
What what
yeah, yeah.
what an
Even the
amazing thing.
kickoff.
Everything is just putting it in one corner for one free kick, then the other corner for another
Yeah,
free kick.
yeah,
Playing in all the big
mm,
games. He's just a great player, isn't he? A great
yeah,
player,
yeah,
and he's done great for the Republic of Ireland, didn't he? He scored the goal against
yeah.
England,
He
didn't he?
did.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
World Cup. He was brilliant in the
so
World Cup as well. Yeah,
obviously, you know, Sheeds might have been would have been. You're talking about my all-time favourite players for Everton. Sheeds would have been right up there anyway. So he's definitely going to be number 1 for Republic of Ireland for Everton.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. Okay, interesting one next. Someone again you know quite well, and it's Gareth Farrelly.
Gaz scored one of the
Mm,
most important goals, didn't he, for us?
absolutely. Yeah,
I still see Gaz now. Funny enough, that season, Gaz must have had 120 shots from that distance, and everyone
yeah,
went to either the
yeah.
Gladys Street or the Park End.
Park End.
Um, and he was just going on. I was like, stop shooting, Gaz.
Yeah.
And then obviously he pulls out a worldie. Um, for the strike alone, for that strike alone, I'm going to put Gareth as 9.
Okay, I'm
No,
having
I'm
that.
putting Gareth as 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're just in time then. You know, once it locks in, it locks in.
Yeah,
But
got
you were
you.
just in time.
Yeah,
Okay. So next on the list is an interesting one. It really is, and it's Lee Carsley.
yeah,
And let
fantastic.
me just before you go on about Lee, let me tell you, just remind people of the rules and what this is about is your who you rank as the best players, not necessarily who did better for Everton, not necessarily who you like or who won things, but as their individual player, who you feel is the better players.
Yeah. So Lee Carsley, I thought done great for Everton. He really
Mm,
did.
mm.
I was talking about Harrison Armstrong before, wasn't I? About he always
Yeah,
gives you a 7 out of 10. You'd almost,
yeah,
I think with Harrison, you're going to be almost guaranteed that. Lee Carsley was one of them players. You get your 7 out of 10. Joe Parkey was the same. You get a 7 out of 10. You might get an 8. You
mm,
very rarely get much underneath that because they're quite professional types of people.
yeah.
Um, so I think Lee jumps into that category. And for me, I'm going to stick Lee Carsley as number 3.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not arguing with that. He's what I call a Cooper and old man. He does what he says on the can.
Yeah.
And that's it, isn't it? Every time you see Lee Carsley, and it's pretty much what you're saying. You know what you're going to get, and that's
Seven
as
out of
simple as that.
7 out of 10s, Al. It's up the art.
Yeah.
Sometimes an
Okay.
8. Yeah.
Interesting one for you, James McCarthy, who
I
came
like
with
James
Roberto.
McCarthy. Had a terrible injury, didn't he? I thought he was fantastic when he first come, James McCarthy, and a player who could get around the midfield, get
Yeah.
stuck in. He could play a little bit. I think he had more in the tank that was going to come out, and then he got hit with them injuries. Um, but no, I like I'm going to stick James McCarthy in at number 4.
Okay. What I'm just going to say to you now, and it's too late. That's in now. But I'm just going to say to you, just be a little bit careful now.
Well, I'm
You
stuck.
know.
I don't know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So
Uh,
anyway, three left. The next one is
I
young
haven't
Jake
done it.
O'Brien. What? What?
Yeah, so I've got, okay, young Jake O'Brien. Okay.
Yeah, Jake
Yeah,
O'Brien. So let
yeah,
me just recap. You've got
yeah.
number one,
Sheets.
number
Yeah,
three, number
yeah,
four,
yeah.
number
6.
five, number six, seven,
Oh,
and eight.
was number 5 gone as well?
Five's gone. Yeah, Richard Dunn was at number five.
Was he? Yeah. Well, I'll have to put. Well, to be fair, that's fair enough. I mean, as he has to go in at number 9, he's done ever so well, I think, this year. But it's almost his first year, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
playing week in,
yeah,
week out.
yeah.
Um, we shouldn't be at number 9, but I'm stuck here because he's not going in at number 2, and all the rest of them are taken. So he's going to have to go in at number 9 and see if I can do a little bit of magic at the end because I think the kid's done ever so well. He's played right back.
Mhm.
It's definitely
Yes,
not
yeah,
a natural position, and he's done great
yeah.
there. And when he's gone centre back, we've looked quite strong with him centre back.
Yeah.
But listen, this game that you've created, Ali, just can't go in as number 2, so he goes in at number 9.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, you see, now you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I might be able to use me one move afterwards for Jake
yeah,
O'Brien. I know that, but I'm not so sure you will.
yeah. I probably
Anyway, so
won't
so
because
so
you've
you've
got
got
2
number
left
two
and
and you've
10.
got number 10,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So here's the first one. It's
yeah.
Seamus Coleman, the captain.
Well, I knew you were going to say Seamus because you had to say Seamus. So Seamus is my number 2, right? So
Yeah, okay.
when you say Republic of Ireland, it's in my head straight away. It'd have been a
Mm,
terrible game if you wouldn't have said Kevin Sheedy or Seamus
mm.
Coleman. So I'm thinking you've
Yeah,
got to say them two.
yeah.
So Seamus Coleman's been, well, he's been the best, you know, one of the greatest signings ever for the club, hasn't he?
Mm. Yeah,
To get a young kid
yeah,
from
yeah.
Sligo Rovers was it?
That's right.
To
Mm,
get a young kid from Ireland to come over and be as influential as he's been has been
mm.
nothing but like outstanding.
Yeah,
And off the pitch, he leads off the pitch. The kid, doesn't he?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's a shame that Kevin Sheedy's from the same country he's from, isn't it? Really, or he'd be number 1 in
Mm.
this game, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, yeah, he would have been. Yeah.
But I
Mm.
can't speak
Certainly,
highly enough.
certainly for value for money. That's for sure.
Oh, but the kid, you know, he's going to go into his coaching career soon, and it's funny because he should be showing videos of himself because
Mm.
1v1 he was quite good, especially in the box. But going
Yeah,
forward, You know, his energy. You know how quick he runs back and all the great habits that good players have.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has to go in at number two. And to be
And I think you're
fair,
right.
yeah,
I,
go
I
on.
mean, I think you're right. Sorry. So I think you're right in the fact that, you know, a lot of people we look at Seamus. We can be guilty sometimes of looking at Seamus because of the character he is, because
Yeah,
of the loyalty, because of the value he's given us. But what sometimes we don't talk about is what he brings on the pitch as well, because he's so determined, and when he gets forward,
yeah.
some of the moves into the box that he's done
Oh,
down the years. I mean,
yeah,
incredible.
fantastic, incredible. Yeah, some of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so the
So
last
we're
one
on the
is
last
going
one
ten.
now.
I don't even know who you're going to say, and
Okay.
I'm going to apologise to him now because you've obviously got a red little curveball here, haven't you? Go on, who is it?
Yeah.
Hang
Well,
on.
you could describe this player as a curveball, actually,
Oh,
in many
yeah.
ways. And there's one, Terence Phelan.
Ah, Terry, me mate. Yeah, do
Yeah.
you know what?
I was a bit cruel, that
Terry.
wasn't it, of me? That
Yeah, I love Terry. Terry is my
I know you
pal as
do.
well.
That's why
Um,
he's the last one.
I know, and do you know what? I never even gave him a minute's thought today. When I'd seen your tweet today, I thought, Terry, you never give him a minute's thought. Terry came to us, would have been towards the end of his career, really, wouldn't it? Last
Yeah.
few
Yeah. It
years now.
was. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
looking at Terry before he come to us, athletic, fast. I
Mm.
mean, how good would Terry be in the modern game now?
Incredible. Mm.
Athletic, fast,
Yeah.
great habits.
Tough. Yeah.
What a great professional. I couldn't speak more highly of Terry in
Yeah.
the dressing room. Fantastic person. Which is why we're still friends now. Um,
Mm.
and Terry's not going
Well,
down 10. No,
I was going
Terry's
to
not
say
going. No, but I'll put
you were
he's get.
friends.
I'll put him in 10 now, but he's getting moved because Terry's not sitting 10. Shane Duffy's not staying ahead of Terry. I know that for certain. Yeah,
so so let's have a look. I mean, just for the viewers and the listeners, what Tony can do now is take one position and change it, swap two players, just one, because obviously we give a little bit of leeway in, because of things like the Terry Phelan effect, and so I'm guessing you're going to move Terry Phelan from
I
number
am.
10.
Who
Where are you
does,
going to put him?
who did he have as number 6?
Well, number 6 was Kevin Kilban.
And who was 7?
Number 7 was Gareth Farrelly.
Yeah, so
Number 4 was James McCarthy.
he's going to go, yeah, number 4 staying, number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Who's 5?
And Dunny.
Yeah, it's only
Dunny was
staying.
5.
Yeah, it's only staying.
Okay.
So he's going to go, and I'm going to swap him with Gareth Farley. So Gareth go
Okay.
no, yeah, I'm going to swap him with Gareth. Yeah,
Okay. So Gareth
bang
becomes
on.
number 10.
No,
So, I mean,
I'm going to swap him with Duffy. Sorry, Big Duffy's going to 10,
uh,
and Teddy's going
okay.
to 8. Yeah,
8. Okay. I'm
yeah.
loving that. So there you go. It's a lot harder, that one, than you thought, wasn't it?
I forgot about Teddy, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
Teddy's career, Teddy be right up there as being in the top 3 or 4. Really, his
Yeah.
career, because
Yeah.
that he was a fantastic footballer, was Teddy Phelan.
Yeah.
Athletic, fast as, could have a fight,
Yeah.
could have a laugh. He was everything that you wanted
Yeah.
in a modern fullback. He really
Yeah.
was.
And
So yeah,
again, character. We talked about the dressing room, didn't we,
yeah,
in the 90s?
yeah,
I remember when he came in, Joe Royle, I was down the tunnel area doing something for TV Everton, and Joe Royle came in and said to me, Al, could you do me a favour? Can you just look after Terry for us? We've just signed him. And
yeah,
we spent the afternoon going round. I give him the tour of Goodison and that,
yeah,
and the laughing we did,
yeah,
and it just felt like one of the lads.
yeah, and he
And
was.
he'd been in the building for 10 minutes,
Yeah, yeah,
and that sort of sums him up, really, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah.
brilliant. Forgot
So
all about him. Yeah, there you go.
listen, that was a good one, and I've enjoyed that. And so you better
Yeah,
start genning up on your Scottish players, because somehow I think that might be a little bit tougher in some respects.
yeah,
Um, we'll see where we go on that one. But listen, we've got Fulham at the weekend, another tough game,
yeah,
and so I mean, our conclusion, just to conclude everything, we're saying okay in the transfer market. We're comfortable with the fact that we only probably brought in one, if that's confirmed.
Yeah,
And the Brighton game, we're content the fact that we got a point from that.
yeah, yeah. I echo your words, Al.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear it. And listen, if you want to contact us, please. We've had some comments this week, which are really good, and we'll try and get a prize soon for some of the best comments as well. And we'll run that on the channel as soon as we can get a few. You know, I'll go into me boot, which when I was at the club was always the little the golden den that they used to
Yeah,
always try and get into my boot of my car to see what they could find. Robbie Gillespie in particular was chief trouble causer. But listen, Tony, great to see you again,
great.
and thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us, and it helps us to keep it free as well for you. But we'll see you next time on the True Blue Everton podcast.